Today on the Norse Benchwarmers podcast, we will be talking about the upcoming AFC Championship with Andy Edwards, along with the NFC Championship and some NKU hoops with Ben Miller. All right, so today we're going to be starting with the AFC Championship. We have the Kansas City Chiefs going up against the Baltimore Ravens. That'll be a colossal matchup. Kansas City. Let's first look at how we got here. Kansas City in their 7th meeting since 2020 with the Buffalo Bills. Mahomes, 215 yards, 2 touchdowns. Kelsey getting 2 of those touchdowns, 5 receptions, 75 yards. What did you guys see from this game?
Really, it was just a close game. I mean, usually you're going to see that between 2 of these powerhouses with the Bills and the Chiefs. This was actually also Mahomes' first game on the road in the playoffs in his whole entire career, so that was big. Just all the way through until that fourth quarter. That fumble through the end zone at that time, and looks like Bills could take it there, but doesn't instead.
Yeah, no. I feel bad for these Bills fans. Another wide right.
Oh my
like, they have to be traumatized
They really
from
do.
all their history of all the Super Bowls to have another wide right. And then also you got to think the Bills are the one who allowed the Chiefs to get Patrick Mahomes. They traded them pick 10.
I did see
So
that.
this guy has been a thorn in your side the entire time. And I found it interesting. Kelsey finally had that breakout game. 2 touchdowns, and it was his first one scored since he played the Eagles 7 games ago. So, but that also helped set the record for most TD passes between quarterback and wide receiver / tight end in history, passing Brady and Gronk, which when you think about it, doing that in 5.5 seasons is very
insane.
impressive.
I mean, we were waiting for Kelsey to have that game and was just not able to work it and just can't get into it. And then finally, when it matters most in the divisional round in the playoffs, you're able to go out there and perform like that. That is awesome. Also, something else I really love to see was Jason Kelsey out there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Gotta love Kelsey.
That is what Cincinnati brings to NFL players right there.
Man, that dude is absolutely wild.
Oh, my gosh, yes.
And then, of course, the other game was Baltimore-Houston. Ended up in a big blowout, 34-10, Ravens on top.
Yes.
Lamar finished first since 1948 with 100 passer rating, 100 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns passing, and 2 touchdowns rushing. For me personally, this season alone has solidified Lamar Jackson as the second best quarterback in the NFL.
There is no doubt about it, and I agree with you 110% there. I mean, even though he's not having the big passing yards, those rushing yards, 2 rushing touchdowns by a quarterback in that game, that's awesome. That's great to see. Really, Ravens they kept it close in the first half with that punt return touchdown from the Texans. Kept it close, and then at the second half just kind of ran away with it there. Didn't even allow an offensive touchdown for the Texans.
Yeah, I mean, it was a tale of 2 halves. 10-10 at halftime, ended up being 34-10 by the end of the game. You had Houston only 38 rush yards for the entire game compared to the Ravens. Had 4 different Ravens carry the ball, combined for 229 rush yards. I mean, it was truly kind of domination there in the second half. But in the first half, it was like the Ravens maybe were a little slow. They'd been off for a couple weeks, and yeah, it was really just domination there in the second half. And I felt like the Ravens never really flexed their muscles or never really had to flex their muscles, which they will have to do against Kansas City next week.
There's no doubt about it. But also, I also like to see Lamar, even though he didn't have those passing yards, he had 2 passing touchdowns, and he gets that ball to anybody that's on the field. I mean, people say that about Mahomes. He gets it to anybody on the field, but really, you got to look at Lamar as well. He doesn't care who you are. He's going to pass it to you if you're open. Isaiah Likely and Nelson Aguilar got those 2 touchdowns. But also we see Odell and Zay Flowers out there just getting passes, getting some yards for them. And also, without Mark Andrews, it does suck for them. But being able to keep on going, even without Mark Andrews, is awesome.
The defense, though, but going back to that, was crazy impressive,
Mm-hmm.
allowing only 175 yards passing.
Mm-hmm.
The C.J. Stroud.
Yeah.
C.J. Stroud, who has been tearing up the lead this in the second half, solidifying himself as Rookie of the Year. 175 yards passing, 0 touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, the defense was incredible. And I think that's what they're going to have to do next week against the Chiefs, is they're going to have to show up. I mean, you can't account for what Nicole Hardman did in that game the other day, 2 incredible catches. Will he be able to do that against this Ravens defense next week? That's the question.
I mean, you're looking at it. These are the 2 best defenses on stat wise. These are the 2 best defenses in the league. Ravens first and Chiefs are second. They have only let, I believe, 20-ish points. That's their stats right now. But here's what I'm thinking. You saw Willie Gay go out of that, wasn't playing in that Bills game. And then also we see Mike Edwards also hurt on that game. How is that going to affect the defense there of the Chiefs? Is who's going to have to step up? Because I feel like Lamar is able to run around that defense if he really needs to.
I was going to say, personally for me, if I'm going to be predicting the game, I got the Ravens winning 23-20, and it's simple as defense wins championships. They're both top 2 when it comes to defenses, as you mentioned. However, to solidify everything, Ravens are 14th in rushing. KC is 18th. Give me the team that can run the football always and play defense. I'm going to take the Ravens. What about you, Andy?
I'm taking Ravens as well. I'm going to go a little higher scoring. I feel like both teams are going to be able to score. Even though the defenses are really good, I'm going to see a high scoring. I'm thinking a 34-27 Ravens. I think it's going to be close all the way through until that end. Ravens are going to get a late touchdown, and they're going to take it, and the defense is just going to keep it there for the Ravens.
I'm going to play devil's advocate here, and I'm going with the Chiefs.
Okay.
And there's no stats behind it. There's nothing else behind it. It's just you got Patrick Mahomes behind center.
That's really all you need.
That's really all you need. They have the experience. They show up when it matters. The Ravens can too. They obviously can win this game, but they don't necessarily have that experience yet. But you got to get it somehow. So I definitely see the Ravens here. But I got the Chiefs. I got the Chiefs making it to the Super Bowl. Plus, they have the color in the Super Bowl logo.
This is gonna be a fun game to watch. I mean, 2 great teams battling it out. I always love to see those kinds of games.
All right, well, we are going to throw it to a break. When we come back, we will have Ben Miller joining us to talk about the NFC Championship and previewing that. So, see you when we get back.
Only in the forest can you see this. And this. And this. But nothing beats the moment you see that.
Cool!
That's your child's eyes opening up to a world of possibilities.
I didn't know it could do that!
Because one trip to the forest can spark a world of difference.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go, like hiking, canoeing, fishing, or camping. Or create your own adventure with family and friends, and you might just see this. Your moment's out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org. That's discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing, but not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. This breaks my heart, and it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and gives it to families in need. To help, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
How we doing, guys? Today we're here to talk about the NFC Championship, which is between the Detroit Lions, who are in their first NFC Championship since 1991, and then
Were
also,
either one of you guys born?
No,
Nope.
no, I wasn't born for another basically 10 years. Yeah. And then they will be facing off against the San Francisco 49ers, who are in their 4th NFC Championship in the past 5 years.
No surprise there.
let's start with the Niners here, as they faced off against the Green Bay Packers to get to this point. Their 10th meeting in the playoffs, the most of any matchup in the history of the NFL. What did you guys see from that game?
I mean, to be honest with you, from the start, not the best performance from the 49ers and Brock Purdy. But going into this game, I knew the Packers were going to bring it after their dominating performance over Dallas. But overall, what a great game.
Fantastic game. Christian McCaffrey with 2 touchdowns, and for me, he needs to be in discussion for MVP. I get it's a quarterback award, and I get Lamar did take his steps for the AFC, but McCaffrey is by far the most important person on that offense for the 49ers. And a late 8 INT by Love, thrown across his body. I kind of get it. It's just the kind of quarterback he is. He has faith in his arm, this and that. But with 50 seconds to go in a game, you got to be smarter than that.
Absolutely. Like you said, Josh, 50 seconds to go, and you got 2 timeouts. Like, he could have just threw it out of bounds. Like, there was tons of time left.
Yeah, and all you needed was a field goal in that situation.
Absolutely.
Like, it wasn't like you're gunning slinging it for a touchdown. It's just you need to get into field goal range.
Right.
And I thought he's a rookie, or not rookie, but he's in his first year.
Yeah.
Full-time starter. Making it this far was definitely more than I was expecting. You just got to be happy with that, I guess.
So say before the year, I thought they were going to be almost 1, 2 in pick selection, and they'd be looking for another quarterback. Jordan Love, he proved me wrong.
Yeah,
he
proved a lot of people wrong.
Like throughout the season, though, he's gotten much more better, and a lot of players in the league, they got a lot of respect for this guy. He's got a bright future ahead of him.
Lions beat the Bucks 31-23 on Sunday. I don't know how to explain that game.
It's chaotic.
Same. It was absolutely chaotic, and we'll just go towards the end of the game. Did either one of you see the situation where the Bucks could have called a timeout and made the Lions kick a field goal?
I think I might have been out during that. I don't think I saw
Were you able to see that at all?
I was not able to see that through the highlights, but I did hear in a post-game interview, I forget who it was, like there was no way like the Bucks were going to make that up in 12 seconds, which in a way I can see that. I respect that decision.
Not me.
Not you.
Not me.
Not you at all.
You don't know when you're going to be back in that championship situation. Crazy things happen.
Yeah.
I get it was in a dome, and that's a chip shot from 40-something yards. But no, thank you, no nothing. You need to be going for it.
Yep.
No, that's fair. One thing I wanted to point out, though, is that I feel like Tampa Bay, it was like anytime they were backed into a corner into this game, they would pass with flying colors. I mean, they would use Mike Evans, they would use Chris Godwin deep down the field and get down. Like example I think of is at the end of the second quarter when they're like rushing down the field to try and get a touchdown before we go to halftime. And Mike Evans had some incredible catches. He had 147 yards, 8 receptions, and 1 touchdown. But I felt like once we got back from halftime, I thought that was going to be the game plan moving forward. Let's use our playmakers. And they just kind of went back to their checkdowns until once again they had to try and get back into the lead. And they started using their playmakers, and that worked. But in the end, Detroit got it.
Yep.
I'm very interested to see what the Buccaneers do with the future of Mike Evans. There was talk of him potentially walking because the contract deals, this and that. But after the season that man had, you can't let him walk out the door. He is by far Baker Mayfield's number 1 target and number 1 weapon of that offense.
For sure.
It was a vintage performance from him for sure.
Definitely. But like just going back to the beginning of the season with the Bucks, like they started out the year 4-7, but what a job Baker Mayfield has done this year. He's definitely proved a lot of people wrong, and I think we learned a lot of what he can do as a player. Like he definitely proved like he's a good starter for an NFL team.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how long they maybe extend him.
Yeah.
I would probably look, I believe he's a free agent. I would look into franchising him, make it a 1-year deal, and kind of prove it to me again. But for me, I absolutely think he's a starter in the NFL, and it's really fun to see him succeed once he leaves Cleveland.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely a fun thing to see.
So what's your thoughts on the championship?
The championship game, I think it's going to be a good game, obviously, but I'm looking for both running backs to be a key factor in this, Gibbs and Christian McCaffrey. I think it's going to be a good game between those 2 guys.
Yeah, Gibbs, I mean, on just 9 attempts last week, he had 74 yards and a touchdown.
Yep.
I mean, he makes the most out of every touch he gets. He's going to have a tall task going up against Christian McCaffrey, going up against this insane defense, San Francisco defense. And it's going to be a tall task for the Detroit Lions as a whole for sure.
Yeah.
Personally, for me, I feel like the Lions' offensive line is a little beat up. They lost their starting left guard, Jonah Jackson, and Frank Ragnow, their starting center, is out there with a sprained knee and ankle.
Yeah,
How
he is
tough-
a dog, man.
He is.
How
He
tough
is
do
a
you got to
dog.
be to be out there doing that? 49ers, though, they have injuries themselves. Debo Samuel's questionable, and that's huge as Detroit has allowed the second most yards per pass attempt and the third most receiving yards to wide receivers. So if you play fantasy sports or anything like that, look for the 49ers wide receivers to have a big day, especially now Brandon Ayuk. And for me, I got the 49ers to win 27-23.
Yeah, and to be honest, I do not trust Detroit's defense. Like, I think San Francisco's offense is going to be the difference maker, and I'm going 49ers 28-24 over the Lions.
Yeah, I can't play devil's advocate here. I got the Niners as well.
Yep.
I think it's going to come down to what offense shows up, and I think both will, but which one shows up at the end of the game. I think the Niners are battle-tested. I think their defense will create problems for Detroit. I think it'll take a while to adjust. And all around, I think the Niners just have an all-around better team.
For sure.
So
One last fun fact. Jared Goff has lost 5 straight games to Kyle Shanahan and has only thrown over 300 yards twice in his career.
wow.
He
Crazy.
cannot figure out Kyle Shanahan and the defense of the 49ers. So if the Lions are going to win, they're going to have to throw it.
Definitely.
Yeah, you're going to see Goff probably in a lot of pressure too, which is something he struggled with throughout the season. He was able to weather the storm against the Buccaneers, but this is a whole different beast he's going up against with the 49ers. So I would say he's probably going to throw a couple picks, but yeah. So we all got the 49ers on that one.
Yeah, all got 49ers.
We're going to go ahead and take a break. We have NKU basketball coming up, and you want to stick with us.
All right.
We'll be back after the break.
English language is less convincing than probably.
Are you sure we should get matching tattoos on our first date?
Sure. We'll probably stay together.
Probably?
It's been 23 minutes since I ate. I can probably swim.
You should wait 30 minutes.
Okay, now tell me what to do. Cannonball! Cramp! Oh, I have a cramp.
I can probably hit the green from here.
Probably.
Can I get a mulligan?
Ready to go?
Hey, are you sure you're okay to drive?
Yeah, I'm pretty sober. Yeah, I'm probably okay.
Probably okay isn't okay, especially when it comes to drinking and driving. If you're drinking, call a cab, a car, or a friend. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A message brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Listen and imagine. It takes 5 seconds to send a text, and for those 5 seconds, you're driving blind. Life is worth more than a text. Stay alive. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
All right. Welcome back to the Norse Benchwarmers podcast. I'm here joined by Josh Northcutt and Ben Miller. And we're going to talk some NKU hoops, starting with the women's, ladies first. They got their first conference win versus Robert Morris, 83-51. Very high-scoring game there. And they also played Wright State in a tough game, 90-83. Won 3 of the 4 quarters. Just let Wright State score 36 points in the third quarter, which was as much as they scored in the first half.
Yep.
Just a rough game. And what did you see from them this week?
I mean, I thought it was a competitive game up until the third quarter, like you mentioned. Like Carter McGray, she was doing her thing, putting up 25 points and rebounding, and she definitely deserved Horizon League Freshman of the Week. for sure. And Kamari Mitchell-Steen played really well with 16 points. And Callie Davis, she's played a big factor since her return from injury, putting up 22.
Yeah, the offense just looks to flow a lot smoother with her on the court. Callie Davis.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it seems like the offensive kind of starting back up is correlated with that. You know, Kamari Mitchell-Steen, she's always been a very consistent player. 16 points in both those games.
Yep.
Carter McRae, double-double in both those games as well. Double-double machine. I mean, is she going to be Horizon League Freshman of the Year, you think?
I believe she can.
I think she
Absolutely.
definitely has a
Yeah,
chance at
she's the most consistent player on this Norse squad. And, yeah, I would be shocked if she does not get that award, to be honest with you.
So you mentioned the offense flowing better. It was actually the first time this week they scored back-to-back games with 80 points.
Yeah.
Or more.
Really?
So
I'm not
obviously the offense is getting there. And they have tough matchups this week at Youngstown State and at Purdue Fort Wayne. Should be interesting matchups. Both are very winnable, and they can get out of the cellar.
Sorry to interrupt, but Youngstown State just lost their head coach. He just resigned, I believe it was on Saturday. Yeah, Saturday was.
Wow, I did not hear about that.
Yeah, he's been there for about 10 years, I believe.
Okay.
They've had some success. Not the best year from them this year, but still very kind of surprising leave of absence. But moving over to the NKU men's team, 2 big wins from them this week, playing against a wide open Horizon League right now at this point. And playing Green Bay, Milwaukee. Green Bay, a team that surprised a lot of people this season.
Absolutely.
Milwaukee, not as good as they were last year, but still, I mean, they're in the hunt just like we are. We went in, and not only did we beat these teams, we had 82 points per game in those 2 games, an average margin of victory of 20 points in both those games. So we did not only beat these teams, we went in there and absolutely beat the crap out of them.
Yep.
And what did you see from those?
I mean, I think it's pretty impressive how we're playing so well right now without Sam Vinson. Like, especially Marquez Work. He's been on a roll as of late, and as a matter of fact, he won Horizon League Player of the Week. And like the Green Bay game, like everybody showed up in this game. I mean, you look at LJ Wells, who's playing a lot better than he did last year with 15 points.
Yeah, he's come on strong recently.
Yep. Michael Bradley with 10. Marquez Work, as I mentioned, with 21. And, you know, number 2 in scoring, though, he's definitely showed up this year.
Yeah, they got a big matchup ahead to get some revenge versus Purdue Fort Wayne this week. And then a matchup at Youngstown State on Sunday, which they'll be facing off against 2 former NKU players, Bryson Langdon and Big Z, Emmanuel Zorgolf.
Yep.
Yeah, that's going to be a big game on Thursday. I'm going to be watching from the crowd. ESPN2 is picking up the game.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's pretty huge. That's the first time since 2020, right? I believe. It's been a couple years since we've been on national television, so that's going to be a huge game. Hopefully the crowd shows up for that one.
Definitely. I'm going to say, I heard they were expecting a pretty big crowd, so.
Yeah, I'm excited for that, and that'll be a big game this weekend as well.
Absolutely. And, you know, not to interrupt you, I apologize,
no,
but
all good.
But, you know, Purdue Fort Wayne, they started out as the top dog in the Horizon League, but
they dropped 4 straight, was it?
5 straight.
5 straight.
Wow.
Now.
5 straight,
Wow.
yeah. But you know, they're still a good team. Like they're number 2, they're the number 2 scoring offense, number 4 scoring defense, and number 2 in 3-point percentages made. But I'm not giving up on these guys. They're definitely a good squad, for sure.
Yeah, definitely can't sleep on an opponent, even if they're on a rough streak. But we have a new segment coming up here, or the 2-minute warning. So stay tuned for that. Find out what we got there. And we'll see you after the break.
All right.
As an 18-year-old, I let my mistakes kind of take over my life. I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school, and I didn't do it.
10 years later, at age 28, Jackie finished her high school diploma.
When I found out that I was pregnant, I know that I had to do something for myself if I wanted to make her a better person and provide a better life for her. My family never stopped pushing for me to be better because they knew what I could become and who I could become as a person. My support team is amazing. The educational director, my sister, and even my 7-year-old daughter has just been more than the support that I could ask for. I've been given an opportunity, and I'm just thankful for it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
I want to thank my mommy for loving me so much,
for taking me to the doctor when I broke my foot,
for leaving me alone when I wanted to be alone.
And now, as a grown-up, I'm thankful for being able to take care of you, my dear mom, for taking you to your therapies, for understanding that sometimes you simply want to be alone.
Roles change without us noticing. That's why AARP gives you the information to provide even better care for your loved one. Visit aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
All right, welcome back to the Norse Benchwarmers podcast, here with Josh Northcutt and Ben Miller. Here for the 2-minute warning. Josh, what's 2-minute warning?
So the 2-minute warning is just going to be me firing questions at you guys. Quick answers. Don't really think about it. Just come up with the first thing that pops in your head.
All right, all
Everything
right.
sound good?
Yep.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, Ben, we'll start with you, and we'll just work around the table. Ben, who is your comeback player of the year in the NFL?
Easily Joe Flacco. After not playing for so long and he joins the Browns late in the season, leads them to the playoffs, Joe Flacco.
You?
I got Baker Mayfield. I mean, he was here for the entire year. He even had a comeback in the middle of the season. So
For sure.
I easily got that.
Yeah, I'm going Baker Mayfield as well. Joe Flacco, 5 games. DeMar Hamlin, 30 snaps. It's Joe Flacco. it's Baker Mayfield. Next up, what team has surprised you most in the NBA, Colton?
I got the Timberwolves. I mean, anytime the Timberwolves are at the top of the league or looking good, not just in the middle of the pack, it's pretty surprising to me.
Yep. For myself, it's the Oklahoma City Thunder. I mean, second youngest team in the league, looking like they can win a championship this year. So OKC for me.
Yeah, both of those teams need to go out and maybe get a piece that they're missing, and they'll definitely be able to get around. For me personally, it was the Orlando Magic. They had a nice little winning streak, and they're a nice young core there.
Yep.
So I like the Magic.
I like that answer.
Outside the Dodgers, who has been the best offseason in the MLB? Ben?
I would say the New York Yankees. I mean, they just signed Juan Soto. Like last year with the Nationals, he averaged .275, 35 home runs, 109 RBIs, and 150 hits.
Colton, who you got?
I got the Atlanta Braves. I mean, this is a team that's made the playoffs 6 years in a row, and I think they can make it a 7th year in a row after this offseason.
For me, it was also the Yankees, adding Marcus Stroman to solidify the rotation, Soto and Verdugo to solidify the outfield. The Yankees are going to win the AL, finally, and then lose to the Dodgers in the World Series. Now, last but not least, who is currently the best team in college basketball? Colton?
I got to go with Purdue. I mean, there's
Purdue.
only a handful of times in life that you're able to call your favorite college basketball team the best team in college basketball. So I want to take that opportunity. Zach Edey is a dog.
Ben?
For myself, I got to go with my Kentucky Wildcats. I mean, number 1 in points per game, number 6 in three-point percentage, number 7 in field goal percentage. Like, I could see them cutting down the nets in Phoenix.
For me, Purdue and UNC are the only 2 teams with double-digit wins in Q1 and Q2. Purdue has a better strength of schedule of second. Right now, Purdue Boilermakers are the best team in college basketball.
I thought you would have said North Carolina there,
I would
but
think
I
that
respect it. I respect it. It's a W pick. Well, thank you, Andy, for joining us earlier. Ben for joining us now.
Yep.
Josh, of course. Be sure to check out the Not So Small Talk show and the Raid. Wonderful podcast. Thank you, guys. See you in the next one.
Thank you for listening to the Norse Benchwarmers. We'll be back in 2 weeks, but in the meantime, check out our other podcasts, such as The Raid on every other Tuesday, or Not So Small Talk on every Thursday. Again, you were listening to the Norse Benchwarmers.